Hey guys, this is Ryan. Welcome to Future Riffs, and today we're going to talk about fingerstyle guitar playing. So you won't need a pick for this one particular installation. So I'm going to get you guys rolling on fingerstyle guitar playing. I'm going to try to keep my left hand chords pretty simple through these exercises, and I am going to focus on my thumb, pointer finger, and middle finger for these for the right hand portion of the exercise. We'll eventually expand to using our entire hand, more like a classical player, but the amount of stuff that we can get accomplished just by starting to incorporate our pointer finger and our middle finger without a pick will be really, really cool. So why fingerstyle versus playing with a pick? There is a lot of techniques that we can dive into that will give you this kind of natural speed along with like kind of a natural legato ability through a lot of chord playing. So I can take a chord as simple as C major, and instead of strumming it with a pick, I can get a ton of different patterns. Like I can start on the A string, pick A, B, D, G, and do this. I threw a hammer-on in there. If you guys haven't watched hammer-ons and pull-offs yet, it is up now. I will use some hammer-ons and pull-offs through some of these techniques. So if those things are a little bit perplexing, maybe check out that video too. But anyway, you can still do that technique I just did with a pick, but we can do everything from that to unisons, where the pick starts to get a little bit hindering in some of these techniques, and fingerstyle kind of opens it up. Also, just overall, fingerstyle has a different texture sound. Your pick is maybe made of Tortex or Ultex or plastic or whatever you're using, nylon. Your fingers are made of finger. So it's going to sound more like a finger. That's like all I can think of for that part. So it's true, though. It has this more mellow sound. There's less attack. You still have the clarity, but it doesn't sound like a dense object hitting another dense object. It's a finger hitting a metal string. So let's go ahead and come up with a chord progression that we can mess with. And I'm going to show you guys a couple simple fingerstyle patterns that we can start rolling with now. Okay, so the first one we're going to do is we're going to go from C major to A minor. Just two chords back and forth. And we're going to do that pattern that I quickly showed examples of right at the beginning of the video. We're going to go A string, B string, D string, G. So we'll go, that's my thumb, that's my middle finger, thumb for the D string, and then pointer finger. So let me do that without messing up. Thumb, middle finger, thumb, pointer finger, thumb, middle, thumb, pointer, thumb, middle. So you start getting this really calm tone here. Now the cool part about this exercise is that I'm going to be able to keep that same pattern on my right hand and get really, really acquainted with it. I'm throwing you guys on the interior strings, so that means I'm not using my E strings at all, and that's on purpose. Aim is going to be a big part of mastering fingerstyle. You really want to be able to get in between the strings, not hear a ton of additional noise, like for example, accidentally hitting your low E or your high E string while you're going about doing these patterns. The A minor chord that I'm going to add to this little chord progression is going to have the exact same picking pattern. So my right hand is not going to budge. I'm going to do the exact same thing. So now I'm holding an A minor, and I'm going to go A string, B string, D, G. Back to C. which if you're holding both of these chords properly, you should only have to move one finger to go back and forth in between A minor and C major. So just this alone, to me, beats the snot out of strumming. They do serve different purposes, but it's just so cool to have all that legato. I jazzed that one up. So that's step one. It is going to take a little while for you to develop a lot of speed with that technique if you haven't done this before. I would highly recommend practicing really slowly and precise. Something about muscle memory that you probably already know, maybe played sports or something like that. But if a ball's traveling at you at a bajillion miles an hour, it's intimidating unless you're a pro. Same thing with learning any sort of guitar technique. You want to do it correct and slow first. Correct and slow is always the best route, including speed techniques. You start them slow. That way you're not tensing up. You can really get a feel for the part. And then increasing your speed after you really truly know how to play the riff isn't actually that hard. Going a little faster, increasing your speed won't be bad if you really have the technique down. So we can start this here happily. And then within no time, maybe even within the same day of practicing it, you can increase that speed. So then, one thing you're going to notice that I'm doing a lot of in here is I'm throwing in hammer-ons to the standard chords we're playing. I love that trick. I call it a trick because it makes you seem like you're playing something much... Oh no! I would definitely consider it a trick because it makes you sound like you're playing something much more lavish than you actually are. It's just a syncopation in between your left and right hand that gives you this really cool, natural kind of roll. So I'm going to go ahead and throw one in here just to add to this first technique because I think you guys will enjoy doing it. Grab your C chord, and we are going to go the same exact pattern, thumb on A, middle, thumb, pointer. But when I play my second thumb position, which is on the D string, I'm going to do a hammer-on with my middle finger from 0 to 2nd fret on the D string. So I'm going to go up, hammer-on, continue my roll. So the exact roll that I was doing prior would be this one. And just adding that one little hammer on, we get this. Then if you want to finish the roll off by using your middle finger again, you get that complete sound arpeggio. So you get that. This works the exact same on the A minor. I'm even hammering on the exact same note. It's the exact same note being hammered, not even the same position. It is D string from open to the E note at 2nd fret. So you're able to kind of go back and forth in between these two. Let's talk about a couple other fingerstyle techniques that you should start working on right away. So that's one, getting really acquainted with those middle strings. The next is going to be a set of pinches. So pinches, I'm going to play 2 notes at the same time. This is where your pick will give you a completely different texture. Trying to do this technique with your pick will sound so different. Let's go ahead and continue using those same 2 chords. I'm going to go... So it polkas out. We have that walking bass line. Now, cool kids may be like, that's the lamest sounding riff ever. It's actually incredibly applicable. Make your chords cooler. increase your rhythms, do that type of thing, and then pinches and a walking bass line become insane. So you can start getting these really awesome tonalities out of that. But let's talk about the simple of it. So I'm going to grab C major. My pointer finger and middle finger each have their own strings. My pointer finger is going to be on the G, and my middle finger is going to be on the B string. Then my thumb is going to go back and forth in between A and D. The reason I'm starting on A is because the root of my C major chord is on the A string. So I'm able to go pinch, pinch, and the term pinch is the two fingers at once thing. Someone please clip this. All right. Switching to A minor, keeping my pattern on the right hand the same. Speeding up. And then adding hammer-ons. Love it. Like, very, very fun little technique there. Now, I'm using chords that I think everyone's going to be familiar with, but this is a great exercise with any set of chords, anything. So let's check out something maybe a little bit jazzier. I'm just going to use some minor sevens and some major sevens. I'm going to go back and forth in between B minor 7, which is a bar chord. It's a 5-string bar chord. My pointer finger starts on a B note, completes the bar, and then I build my minor 7 on top with my middle finger and ring finger. This is a very easy chord to go find on the Google. So go find yourself a chord chart for a B minor 7 if this is looking weird to you. So I'm going to do that same pinch pattern here. Now it has a different sound because my intervals are different. And let's make it a little bit more complicated. I'm going to move my bass line around. The whole time my thumb is going to be manning these bass lines. So I'm going to go B minor 7 and work my way to like a G type of thing. I missed a note there. I kind of like that. It's kind of neat. Now, I can make it real legato and let everything ring, but I feel like muting it all lets you hear the technique a little bit more. Let's do a couple more pinch exercises real quick. I've pinched so far with my pointer finger and middle finger, but let's do like a rallentando. A rallentando is a classical term for grabbing a chord, and instead of playing the chord all notes at the same time like this, it's to roll them. So another thing that you can do really successfully with your fingers, and this would be a great spot where if you're starting to get really confident in these techniques, to maybe try adding in your ring finger. Having 4 independent notes is really, really nice in rallentandos because it has like a complete phrase. A lot of things that we do are in 4s, and having that 4th is really, really nice. You're going to find that if you've been doing fingerstyle with these 3 fingers, when you add your ring finger, it's not going to want to cooperate. It is not an independently strong finger at first, and it takes a little bit to kind of work into that pattern. But it's a really, really nice addition to that as well. You can really start getting some really, really cool sounds. You can also avoid strings that you wouldn't want to strum. So if you have a chord where you want to hear the root of it, but you don't want to hear the note right next to it, like a D over F sharp, or like a suspended kind of G chord. You can get a lot of these tonalities, and you can avoid the strings that would cause the chord to have a different name or colorization. Okay, let's recap here a little bit. We have a simple pattern, an interior string pattern going from A to B to D to G that we can work with all first position chords we want. And then of course we can colorize, we can add with the hammer-ons and different things like that as well. The next technique is definitely a set of pinches. You're gonna wanna do that same kind of pattern and get that little hokey polka kind of sound. Very fun. That's going to be stuck in your head, that little sound. I'm sorry. It happens to me a lot. Or maybe it won't happen to you. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, and then rallentandos will be next. And that's where, at that point, you could start incorporating in your ring finger just a little bit so you can have phrases of 4. Up until that point, your thumb is taking care of that 4th phrase by alternating bass lines in both the pinching pattern and in the standard picking pattern. So start working on these. Give me some feedback. Let me know how you're doing on it. Comment. We'll totally reply. We're trying to be super duper good about replying. And also, subscribe to our channel if you're enjoying what we're doing. Subscribe to our channel if you might not enjoy what we're doing. Subscribe to our channel. Thank you guys so much. Practice fingerstyle, develop those wild calluses, have people ask questions why your fingers look so mangled.